I've generated more than $50 million in client marketing revenue, and content has been one of the most powerful ways I've been able to accomplish this. And today, I'm pulling back the curtain on my own content strategy, sharing with you how I market my consultancy through social media and content, what I'm keeping going into 2025, and what's changing. I'm also sharing why I'm making those changes and how you can create your own killer content strategy for 2025 and beyond. When we talk about content marketing, we're talking specifically about how you grow your brand through organic or non-paid channels. You can think social media posts, blog posts, podcasts, and even this YouTube video. When I approach a content strategy, whether it's for myself or any of my clients, I have three main goals: educate, engage, and convert. And you don't actually make money until that third stage, which is convert. And since businesses exist to make money, why do I focus on educate and engage at all as part of my content strategy? The reason that I include those key points in my content strategy, well, it all comes down to the buyer journey that any prospect takes when they decide to make a purchase. Depending on the price point and the type of product or service you offer, this could be a very long journey or it could be very short. Either way, there's questions that need answering, considerations that need considering, and competitors that need comparing. Each of those things happen within a buyer journey. To entice prospects to purchase from me instead of my competitors, I focus on educating and engaging to build trust and psychological safety around my brand. When you take the time to do this, you build a relationship with your prospects, which makes them more likely to buy from you instead of your competitors. Now, the key components of any content strategy really boils down to what makes sense for you given the context of your marketing ecosystem. I always recommend brands start out with one organic channel and one paid channel, and once you've taken those channels as far as they can go, then you can diversify your strategy. But this video is focused on content, so we're going to talk about organic channels. Currently, for my consultancy, I have two primary organic channels. One is LinkedIn and one is my podcast, The Growth Pod. And LinkedIn has actually been the primary way for me to get leads for my business over the past few years. However, recently I was reviewing my data for 2024 and found that my podcast was responsible for a lot more leads than I originally realized. So that was cue to me to focus on more long form content going into 2025. Now, my podcast is something that I just started in 2024, and clearly leaning more into long form content was an excellent decision for us in 2024. In addition to these two channels, I also create content for my weekly newsletter, Weekly Traction. And even though that is considered content in some ways, in reality, you will have need to encountered me somewhere in the wild online to be able to sign up for that newsletter. So I really view the newsletter as something different than my content strategy. Looking into 2025, I have a goal to diversify my acquisition channels. Since LinkedIn and my podcast are both bringing in reliable leads for my consultancy, my plan is to expand our reach in two main ways: blogging and YouTube. Now, blogging is something I've really wanted to launch when I started my consultancy, because my goal is to create a high value library of content for anybody who's looking to grow their business through marketing. However, my marketing strategies use an ecosystem first approach where you intentionally add one channel at a time to make sure that it's working for your brand, making sure it's a good use of your effort, and also to make sure that you don't spread yourself too thin. So even though I knew I wanted to have a blog, blogging for SEO is a longer term play, and when a brand is in its first few years of life, chances are there's a more lucrative avenue for you to acquire customers, which in my case was LinkedIn. Now, one of the things I love about my podcast is that it allows me to sit down and create long form, high value educational content for my target audience. But not only that, the content that I make for my podcast is evergreen, meaning the more content I make, the more opportunities I have to be discovered online and create trusting relationships with my prospects on their terms. And in my opinion, YouTube has the ability to do this, but on an even greater level. Not only can I share content that you need to grow your brand, but I can also share a little bit more about myself through vlogging and behind the scenes content so you can learn more about me and my values. So that's what's changing for me in 2025. But if you're looking to create your own high value content strategy, where's the best place for you to start? The first thing I always recommend is looking at your data. When you look at your data, you'll see where most of your leads or purchases came from. But another thing I like to look at is the average order value and the average customer lifetime value by marketing channel. For example, maybe you market your business on TikTok and LinkedIn, and both of these channels bring in sales for your business. But when you look at the data, it looks like more purchases are coming from TikTok than what's coming from LinkedIn. However, you can go even deeper and see the average order value and the customer lifetime value by channel. And maybe when you look at your data, you see that while you're getting a lot of purchases from from TikTok, the average order value is actually significantly lower than your customers who come through LinkedIn. And when you look at your customer lifetime value, maybe your LinkedIn customers stick around way longer and end up purchasing from you way more in the long run than customers that you get through TikTok. And so by looking at your data in this way, you have the best information to create your strategic plan going into the next year. Using the same example, maybe we notice that our LinkedIn posts are incredibly meaty and they have a lot of information and educational value, which could be cue to you to expand more into content channels that allow you to create more long-form content. And so possibly a podcast or a YouTube channel could be a great additional channel for you in 2025. Now let's say the situation is reversed. Your customers from TikTok actually purchase a lot more than your customers from LinkedIn and they have a greater lifetime value. Well, then that could be cue to you to go more in on short form content and possibly introduce an Instagram marketing strategy or a strategy that maximizes your appearance on YouTube Shorts. By using a data-first approach for your brand, you are going to make sure that you're spending your energy in the right place. Now, when it comes to introducing this channel, it's really important that you maintain a testing mindset. When you introduce anything new in your marketing, be it a new channel or even a new strategy, a new type of post, anything that you're doing, there's going to be a huge learning curve for your brand, even if you know that this works for other brands in your niche. And this is why I really like the ecosystem approach. When you think of your marketing strategy as something that's almost living or breathing, you can see how your brand would have its own unique ecosystem compared to competitors in your space. Your brand is one of a kind, and even though you may offer products or services that are similar to your competitors, there are key things that make it different from your competitors, and therefore the way you market your brand will be different as well. When we have a testing mindset, we create a plan to introduce a marketing channel or a new marketing strategy in a way that will give us as many learnings as possible to see if this is a viable channel for us. Let's take YouTube for example. YouTube is something that the more effort you put in, the more you get out of it. And so when you create a new YouTube channel, you need to make sure that you have enough time dedicated to make YouTube a success for your brand. And so mapping out a plan that you can stick to, that you have the bandwidth and the resources to support is key. When you introduce a new channel, you want to make sure that you're introducing it in a way where you're giving it enough effort to be successful, but not so much effort that you're taking away from your channels that are driving leads for your brand. There's going to be things that you need to figure out in the beginning anytime you launch something new, and so keeping this in mind will be key to your success in 2025 and beyond. Now, this video is all about growing organically through a content strategy, but if you're interested in accelerating your growth, then you're probably interested in paid advertising. And I break down exactly how I find and share high-performing ad creative with my clients in this video that you should watch next.